Hey everybody, today's words to live by are: the moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. Those words are from the late, great Kobe Bryant, somebody I greatly appreciated and respected, even if I wasn't rooting for his teams all the time when they were playing my teams. But he has left such a legacy on athletes and non athletes alike, and just such an unbelievable competitor and a class act as well. So, somebody certainly when he spoke, I jotted down or tried to jot down every one of his words. And so I think, let me clarify, I don't think he's referring to quitting things that are harmful to us. In other words, 8 years ago, I gave up drinking, and I don't think his words are encouraging me to have persistence in doing something that was hurting me and wasn't sort of adding to the life that I wanted to live. And I think the same thing would go to if you're in an abusive relationship. I don't think he's saying persist in that abusive relationship. I think the sign is clear: get out, quit, if something is really doing you physical or emotional harm. Rather, I do think that he's talking about a journey of success and trying to achieve and succeed in something that you really feel is worthy and is something that you really want for yourself. And so I think his point is that quitting doesn't just stop your journey, it's actually handing victory to somebody else. And so the only real defeat, I think, is giving up. And these words rang true for me. I mean, I've talked about my sports journey and why I was glad I didn't give up in that, and the same thing in business ownership and in a couple other stops along the way. But the real time that this sort of was a reminder to me was with one of my books. And I won't tell you which one, but there was one of my books where I thought it was a really good book and it didn't sell. And I really thought, okay, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that it's my time to quit, since this book that I felt pretty good about just didn't sell. And I did a little bit of searching. I remembered Kobe's words, and I decided not to quit. And so subsequently, I've now published 10 books, the latest one being this one, Words to Live By. Um, and I'm so glad I didn't quit, because what it taught me about was a different way to write and a different audience and a different sort of goal and objective I had towards my writing. And it really refreshed me. And so if I hadn't sort of had that moment where it was a go or no go decision to continue writing, and if I had said no go, I would never have uncovered a lot of the things about myself and a lot of things about what people wanted to hear from me. And so I'm really glad that I didn't quit. So that's just one example. And I think the point with Kobe, and it always was with him if you study his history, is that persistence really does beat talent, and it beats timing, and it even beats luck. And so I think success really belongs to the people who refuse to quit, even if it's a little bit painful, not harming you painful, but just kind of like, it's uncomfortable. And should I keep going or should I quit? And I think that's a lot of the reason why people quit things is they sort of do this risk reward analysis in their minds, and they say, well, it's too much effort to keep going and I might fail. And so it's just easier to not even go through all that. And I think in the short term, that might make rational sense, but in the long term, it actually causes more pain if you quit. Because if you quit, you look back years later and you say, well, what if? And I could have done this perhaps, or I might have met XYZ person if I had not quit, or I might have gone through this XYZ experience if I hadn't quit, right? And so you do all of these sort of checks in your mind after you quit something, and that's usually more painful than if you had just kept going and kept persisting. So I think Kobe reminds us that the moment you stop is actually the moment you hand away what could have rightfully been yours. And so the point is that don't quit. Persistence is undefeated. And even if the outcome isn't what you want from the persistence that you're using, you end up learning so much more about yourself and about the process and what it takes to achieve something that you want to achieve. And there's no losing in that situation. So don't quit. If you enjoyed today's reflection, please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon.